Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing the best of 2019. We're continuing the series and today we're doing eye products. So these are pretty much the best, by best I mean my favorites, from 2019 that I tried or used. Some are new releases from this year and some are not. Some I just may have discovered this year. I'm not really covering anything that I already loved from previous years because if I loved it, it was probably in another video. So these are all things that came across my plate this year, whether they're new releases or older products I just tried for the first time this year. Things I couldn't put down, things I got excited about, things I loved. So that's what we're going to be doing today. My hair is so frizzy, I still don't have my Olaplex. If you missed my best of skin and hair video, I will have it in the description box down below. Check that out. That pretty much covered all the skin and hair products. My shirt keeps sliding down. It pretty much covered all the skin and hair products that I loved in 2019. So if you're interested in that, check that out. I did cover all of the products, including face, lips, all of it in a podcast episode and the eye products that I loved as well. So it is in one podcast episode. I didn't break it up like I'm doing here on YouTube, but yeah, if you want to listen to it, if you don't have time to sit and watch, then you can always download that podcast episode and listen to that on the go. And I'm gonna just stop babbling on about nothing and we're gonna get into the video. All right, so if you guys want to know what my best of 2019 eye makeup products are, then keep on watching. Oh, I forgot to mention that if you guys are interested in this makeup look, I did a get ready with me I filmed today. It's probably really long because I babbled on and on and on about God only knows what. It was like a chatty AF get ready with me. And so I did this look and I love it so much. I love it so much. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, so let's talk about products. So the only product that is on the list that I do not have in my possession is a mascara. It is the Lancome Miss Your Big mascara. Wasn't a release of 2019, I don't think. I think it came out in the year before. But I don't think I tried it until 2019, and I fell in love with it. I loved it so much. Lancome is probably my favorite mascara brand. Right now I have Hypnose Drama on, which I love almost as much as Miss Your Big, but I think Miss Your Big gives you that really false lash look, like even more so. I would be interested to get them both side by side and see. I don't have Miss Your Big on me right now because I'm using Hypnose Drama. But anyway, it is my favorite mascara. It was my favorite mascara of the year. And that's all I really have to say about that. I talked about it a ton. Next we have from Pixi the Fairy Lights, but these in particular, because I did have Fairy Lights in 2018 as well, because I remember doing my New Year's Eve makeup look going into 2019 and I used Pixi Fairy Lights, I believe. But these in particular are a collaboration with Miriam NYC on YouTube, and there are two shades here, Mirage and Starry Night. And when I tell you, these are the best ones yet. The shades, this is Mirage. It's so perfect. It's like that gold with a pink shift to it, which is literally my favorite eyeshadow ever created. Huda has one in the Desert Dusk palette that I love so much, and this is like the glitter form of it, and it's, I mean, everything to me. This one, Starry Night, is like a black with like confetti colors, like all of the shades of the rainbow reflected in it. And I'm really bummed because I wanted to do a New Year's look with this. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's literally New Year's in a glitter. And I wanted to do a New Year's look with this, and I was sick, so I didn't get to film a New Year's Eve look. I didn't get to do anything on New Year's Eve. It was a total bust. So I didn't get to play with this, and I literally have not put this on my eyes yet. And I'm so sad about it. I've used this one a ton though. But I think these are the greatest glitter colors ever made. Like they're just the most beautiful, reflective, perfect. I don't know if you guys are if it's gonna pick it up. My lens doesn't want to focus. Never focuses on my face when I want it to, and then I want it to focus on the glitter and it won't. Of course. I hope you guys can see it. It's just, they're both just literally the most beautiful. Let's see if I can phone cam. I'll do a video down here and then I'll just insert it. Alright, so anyway, I love these so much. I love this formula, first of all, because it's lightweight. It doesn't feel super crunchy and hard and crusty, you know. It's not heavy on the lids. And it lasts all day. They don't fall out. They stay so metallic and beautiful and wet, and they are the best. So easy to apply. I even cut the crease with these. I'll just take like a small little brush and I'll use these and I'll cut the crease and make them like have a super precise application. These are dry and they look wet still. They're just so pretty. Oh, I love them so much. What's next? Okay, so Urban Decay launched their Street Style Brow collection in 2019, and my favorite product from the line was definitely the Brow Blade. This had the pen on one side, and it had a pencil on the other, and of course, I think this one is a dead, right? Yeah, of course, I picked the dead pencil. I went through already several of these. Yeah, so it has like a skinny pencil on one side and the pen on the other. I really like this because it allows you to do like hair-like strokes with the little pen. You could really just like fake that fluffy front, which I don't have it. I haven't used it in a while. I went through all the colors because they sent me the entire collection, and I went through all of the colors that I could pass with, you know? And then I ended up falling in love with my other brow bestie of 2019, which was the Precisely My Brow. I tried this in 2019. It is not a 2019 launch. It's been around a long time, but I tried it, and afterwards, after I tried this, I literally never looked back. But I did love this. I thought this was such a great product. I loved that it had the pencil on one end, pen on the other. The only downside of this is the pencil runs out before the pen, so then you're just left with the pen. So if I want to get like some hair-like strokes, like maybe I overplucked or something like that, then, and I was using this, I would still take this and maybe, you know, help myself out a little bit. Although I just think the Benefit pencil, like I feel like my brows look better than they ever have. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like my brows are just so good right now, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Precisely My Brow is one of them, and then the other reason is the Gimme Brow and the 24-Hour Brow Setter. Combining these three products together gives me this brow. Is magical. Now you might be thinking, why do you need 2 brow gels? Well, the Gimme Brow is supposed to like thicken the brows a little bit. So after I fill it in, if there's any sparse areas left over, like anything at all, this is going to get it for me, but in a way that doesn't look like heavily filled in. And then this will lock your brows in like literally all night long. But I swear the Gimme Brow is what's giving me the wispies in the front of my brow, because I really never had that before. I mean, I had it, but they looked a little bit cleaner in the front, and I wanted there to be more like wispy hairs, and I just never could get that result. But now that I'm using these products all together, I am, and I'm living for my brows right now. Another thing, and this is dirty right now, no judgments, because I just used it, obviously, that I used all of 2019, and I mean all of 2019, and that was this eye brush from Morphe. I've talked about it. I can't even count how many times, and I've used it every single day for the entire year. I don't think I went without using this, not once, doing my eye makeup. This brush was in their last year's holiday collection. It was called the All I Want collection. And it had like 5 or 6 brushes in it. And they all, well, maybe not all, but these 3 went on to be like holy grail brushes for me. This one I used to cut my crease, and it's just like this tiny little, it's the tiniest little brush, but it has like concealer type bristles. And it's perfect for cutting the crease, and they're very dense bristles too, so I'm able to like really get a precise cuttage. And then this brush, the one that I'm making mention of, this one is a wide concealer brush, but when you turn it on its side, it's so skinny, almost like a shader. So it allows me to really get color into my crease precisely. And that's how I like to apply my eyeshadow. I like to really pack it on and then go into the edges and buff them out. And for me, I find I'm able to get a better blend that way than if I build backwards, you know, from if I start with like transition and then put a deeper color. And if I work from lightest color to darkest, my blend never looks right. I'm not a professional makeup artist, so I just don't have the skill. I just don't. And for me to get that good blend, I go from darkest shade or medium darkest. Sometimes I add deeper colors in, but I go work dark from dark to light in the crease, and that's how I feel like I can get a much better blend. This brush though, I literally use it for every step in my makeup application except for the lid. So I use it on my crease, I use it to blend my crease, I use it for my inner corner, I use it for my lower lash line. It's the best brush ever in life. And only sometimes will I reach for like a fluffier crease brush for, you know, more edge blending, but most of the time this brush does it all. And I'm so sad because I went looking for backups, I went looking for replacements, I went looking for something similar, and there is nothing at Morphe. When I went the last time, which, well, now it's been probably 6 months since I've looked, but I couldn't find anything like this, and I'm fairly certain these bristles are synthetic, and they didn't have anything synthetic. Like, the thing with this brush too that makes it unique is it's tapered at the top. And so they did have one, what is it called? The R39. And the R39 is kind of similar, but it's more fluffy. It doesn't flatten out when you turn it as much. And these bristles are natural. So, and it does not taper. It's not tapered at all. So it's not the same brush. I actually like this one for buffing out the edges, but they do not make this brush in a single. And I can't figure out why they would do that to me. But Morphe, if you're paying attention, please make that brush. Thank you so much. Moving right along, a Urban Decay palette release in 2019 was their Naked Reloaded palette. And this had a lot of hype because they murdered the original Naked palette last fall, or fall 2018. They basically killed Naked, had a funeral. Actually, was it the summer or was it the fall? Anyway, regardless. This came in the early part of 2019, and there was a lot of controversy about it because they got rid of the old Naked palette and they replaced it with this Naked palette. And this Naked palette is so much different because the original is cool tones, this is warm tones, and has like these orangey shades in it. And people, you know, had a lot to say. Like, you either loved it or you hated it, I think. And at first, when I got it, I liked it a lot, but I didn't think I was gonna use it a ton, just because I'm like, you know, it's just basic. It's just a neutral palette, and, you know, there's a ton of other palettes I have that I look at and get more excited than this. Like, I look at this and it doesn't excite me just first glance. I'm just like, you know, it's a neutral palette. But this palette went on to be one of my most used palettes of the year. I went to it and I still go to it as a default palette all of the time. It's my go-to palette when I'm going on a date night and I want to look natural, smoky but natural. And it's the one I go to if I want uber neutral glam, if I want something a little bit more subdued. It's just an all-around great palette, and there literally is a ton you can do with this, even though it looks like there isn't. This shade here, Angel Fire, is probably my most used in the whole palette. It's the one that's going to hit pan. It's going to hit pan. And it makes me really sad, but it's the same as, it's very similar to this in an eyeshadow. It's gold with a pink shift, and it's my favorite shade ever created in an eyeshadow. It's my favorite lid shade, so it's no surprise that I've burned through it and I've used it so much. I've like barely even touched the one next to it, which is Barely Baked. I have really barely touched that, and I don't want to waste this one, but it definitely got a lot more love than any of the other shimmers in it. But I love this palette. I still use it. It's in my top shelf products. It's right here on my desk. Even though I have all my Naked palettes above me just on display, I took this one down and put it in my top shelf because I use it all of the time. Another Urban Decay launch that happened in 2019 was the Game of Thrones collaboration. The only people I've ever heard talk crap about this palette were not Game of Thrones fans, meaning they just haven't blessed their lives and watched the show, not because they've seen it and don't like it. Because is there a human being that has seen Game of Thrones, like actually watched it and didn't like it? I don't think that exists. I think there are two types of people in the world: those who have seen Game of Thrones and those who haven't. And the only people I heard talk trash about this were people who had never seen the show. Anybody who's seen the show, I feel, was pumped about this collaboration. I know I was. And this palette, I was excited about this palette too. When you look at it, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, but it really is a good palette. I mean, if you take off like all the divisions of like the houses and stuff like that, and you took the Game of Thrones aspect out of it, it's a really good palette. Like, these shades here are so foiled and gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful. And then this one here, this silver one right here, like, holy crap, like, it's like a silvery white shade, and it's so metallic and blinding. And then this Frozen North blue shade is like the most beautiful blue. It's like a teal blue, so pigmented, like amazing. But the most used shades for me were definitely the King's Landing section right here. Like, I used Lannister Red, House Lannister, Red Keep, King's Landing a ton. Like, I used them more than anything else. I also used Nymeria, this color here, because that's, you know, that's kind of a good transition shade. I created a look with this only once, but like, those are not colors that I typically use a lot. Although I will say this black actually functions as a black, even though it looks like a sequin shade where it has little glitter specks in it. You can see here. You can definitely use this as a matte black in any look, but there are tiny little shimmer speckles in it. What else? I mean, you have your bronze brown shade. You have a deeper brown shade, which I do wish that this was a matte. It's not a matte. It can be used as a matte. It's more of a satin. Yeah, it's a satin shade, but you can get away with using it as a matte, but other than that, I mean, I don't really have much bad to say about this palette. I think it is really pretty. This quad down here, they didn't include a matte. Everything in here is shimmery, so that I think that did throw some people off. These purples, though, look at this purple. So pretty. I love this. I think that they killed this. This was my favorite thing in the entire collection, although I did like the lipsticks. And the 24/7 Glide On eye pencils that they came out with were like some of the most beautiful shades. They have a blue in there that was like, so good. And also, this launched right when the show was launching, so that was like exciting too. And there was just like a whole lot of excitement. The one thing I didn't like about this palette is the packaging. My mirror did break. I like the packaging. But I didn't like that this palette, I couldn't just take it like this somewhere because there's no closure on the top. Like, you literally have to carry this book thing with you. And that I don't like. But when storing it, I love that it's a book. It looks so cool, and I have it on display, and yeah, I just loved it. The next release that I loved in 2019 was from BH Cosmetics, of course. I probably reviewed more BH Cosmetics palettes in 2019 than any other brand. And that was the Hanging in Hawaii palette. I loved this. They launched their travel series in 2019, and this one was by far my favorite. They did 2 series in 2019. One that had Hanging in Hawaii and Love in London, and one that was Beautiful in Barcelona and something in Saint-Tropez palette. I don't remember exactly. Do I still have that one? Yeah, Summer in Saint-Tropez. I gave away Love in London to one of you guys because it was similar to Beautiful in Barcelona, and I didn't feel like I needed both, so I gave it away, not because I didn't like it, because it was really pretty. But this palette, I used a ton. These shades, oh my god, Pineapple. I mean, I could dye this shade. Another gold with a pink reflect. Favorite lid shade of all time. But, like, look how foiled. And then, like, Sahara and Hula. Like, these are some of the most foiled shades I think BH has ever done. Like, just stunning. And then I just love the warm, you know, tonal browns, and there's a couple of little cranberries and pinks, and they have this metallic foiled cranberry shade, which is so gorgeous. This is such a good everyday palette, but then they threw in a couple of deep tones, so you could smoke it out and get like smoky looks too if you wanted, but this is just a great palette for either a beginner or somebody who's more advanced, somebody who likes natural, neutral tones, if you will. But I loved that one from them. Another one from BH I loved that launched last year was their Stellar Collision palette. This one was all baked shadows, and this ended up getting the #1 spot in my BH ranking video. I ranked all of my palettes before I decluttered, and this one was #1, and Hawaii ended up being #2. Probably should have swapped that a little bit, but this one was newer and I was more excited about it at the time. But anyway, this doesn't have any mattes in it, which normally would be definitely a con to this, but I'm just gonna swatch a couple of them for you. I compared this palette side by side to Natasha Denona, and these shadows were as pigmented and as foiled and as beautiful, and I was able to create a look, a side by side look, using this BH palette and also the It's My Ray Ray collab. I used like some neutral browns, since this doesn't have any mattes in it, to create a look, the exact same look I created with the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, Sunrise palette, Sunrise. And I did the looks side by side, and you could not tell the difference between the two of them. And I was blown away. Then I returned to the Natasha Denona because I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, the price point is insanely different, and the quality is not insanely different. And then they have these purple shades in here that I just think are so beautiful. Oh, it's such a good palette. I don't know, I really loved it. Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you guys that I got an email from BH yesterday, but by the time you see this, it'll probably not be yesterday. But I did just get an email recently telling me that they're doing their promo codes a little bit differently. So they're starting to use a new platform. So my code isn't going to work for a couple weeks while they get that situated. And then once it is situated, they're going to reach back out and let us know so that I can let you know that the code will be back up and running. So if you're going to buy BH and you want to use someone's promo code, you're going to have to wait a couple weeks for that. So just make your wish list and hold off. But I mean, BH is affordable enough. I don't know. Personally, like, I'm all about the promo code life. If there is a promo code to be used, I'm using it. Why wouldn't I, right? But yeah, so that's going to be on hold for a little while, so just an FYI on that. Another release from 2019 from Urban Decay was their Naked Honey. Loved this. This came towards the end of the year. They did the packaging a little different. This is a hard case. I prefer it over the softer ones or the velvet ones because it doesn't get dirty. You can clean it off pretty easy. And they went in the yellow gold tone direction, which I thought was awesome. They did catch a little shit for this. Some people said it was boring. Some people said the tones were too similar. But I think it's actually brilliant, and I think it was great what they did because, I mean, how boring if they did the same thing? I mean, they went in a direction they had never gone in before with it, which was something completely original. And, you know, if you're collecting them, this one's awesome. I did rank all of my Naked palettes. The Cherry is my least favorite. That one I think sucked. I didn't like the formula in that, and I didn't like the colors were like exactly the same. When you look at this online, it looks like the colors could be like really similar, but they're really not. Like, everything is very different. Like, very different. Every shade is tonally different. These two look like they could be a little similar, but you can see, like, this one is more mustardy and this one's more brown. Like, everything has its place, and you can create a bunch of different looks. They also included, like, coppery shade in here. So this one here is a little bit more copper. So it adds a whole nother element to it. So you could do, like, I have done, like, a completely copper look using just, like, this brown, the dark brown, and that, like, coppery bronzy color. So you're not committed to yellow. But anyway, I'm babbling on too long. I believe this one was number 2 in that ranking video because Naked Heat still reigns supreme in my eyes. But this one is pretty badass also. Oh my gosh, and we're coming to the end. I didn't include a lash in this video. BH launched some lashes this year, and their N105 lash is my favorite out of their collection, so I'll just throw that out there. I don't have it because the one I had I used, and they're gone now, and I'm sad. I need more, but those lashes, I loved them. And the last palette that I was going to mention, or the last eye product in general, because I didn't have a favorite eyeliner. I've been using the Urban Decay Perversion liner a lot. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's like a favorite. It's a good liner, but I didn't really have a liner that I feel like I could say, like, ooh, it's my fave, you know? But anyway, the last eyeshadow palette of 2019 that I'm going to put on this list as the best of is from Colourpop and Kathleen Lights, and that is the So Jaded palette. This is actually my very first Colourpop palette. Aside from just having Super Shock shadows, I had never bought their pressed shadows, and the reason is because they were launching too much and I couldn't keep up, and every time I was going to go and review one for you guys, the next one would come out, and I was like, well, does anyone even care about the last one? And then I'd go to get that one, and then another one would come out, and like round and round I went. It wasn't until they launched this that I was like, I need that. And it came out at a time that I was feeling burnt out. Like, nothing was exciting me. I was feeling uninspired, just creatively, you know. And then this came out and I got excited. Like, I just look at this and it fires me up. Like, there's the greens, and you've got some pressed glitters, and you have a Super Shock shadow in here, and you've got metallics, and you've got mattes, and you've even got some sequin shades in here. Like, this black shade I forgot even existed in here. This is like a shimmery black. So fun. I totally forgot about. This green is so gorgeous. So pretty. And I really like the formula. I think, you know, they did a good job. I mean, this Colourpop, right? It's so cheap. I mean, affordable, right? But I think it's good for what it is. I think they, you know, like these mattes are beautiful. This shade here, Jade, it's like the perfect khaki, mustard, pukey green color. Like, perfect. I love that shade. It's probably one of my favorites in the whole thing. And then the glitters, these pressed glitters, I really love. And I will say Colourpop got a lot of shit for putting glitter in their palettes. And everyone was bitching and moaning, saying, like, they're not eye-safe glitters. Well, let me tell you something. I did a look over the holidays, and it was the one where I wore red lipstick, and I put BH loose glitter on my eyes. It was one of the last videos I did of the year. And I got glitter in my freaking eye, okay? At the end of the day. And it scared the shit out of me. And that's supposed to be eye-safe glitter? Like the loose glitters? Because let me tell you, like, you don't want to get that in your eye either. So I really don't think that it's that big of a deal, these pressed glitters, because I don't see the difference in size any different than the loose glitters that I have in my collection. Like, they look exactly the same. It's just one has glue and one doesn't. So I feel like there was too much bullshit hype made about that, in my opinion. But this is a to each his own situation. If you don't feel comfortable putting that on your eye, then don't. I do. I just don't think these glitters are much different than the other glitters I have. How gorgeous is this one? What shade is this? This is Opal. But I think Kathleen in her video said, like, you can use these on your body as well if you so desire. I mean, I don't so desire. I want these on my eyeballs. Like, they're so gorgeous. Like, if Colourpop came out with a palette of straight up pressed glitters, I would buy it. Just saying. But anyway, I just like this palette because there's just a lot you can do. There's cool tones, there's warm tones, there's reds, greens, you know, blues, purples, teals, glitter, neutrals. I mean, there's just everything in here. And it's challenging because there's no color scheme. She didn't go into this putting it together from the standpoint of creating looks. She put it together from the standpoint of jewels in nature, right? Like crystals and jewel tones in nature. So that kind of forces us to think outside the box and, you know, come up with something on our own. And I love that. I loved the challenge of that, and I still love it. Like, I look at this and I just get, I get excited. I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, I want to create something with this, you know? So this was definitely, and I think this was $35 or $39, something like that. So super affordable. Does not have a mirror, however, which is part of the reason probably that it's so affordable, that they can do this, because there is no mirror in it. But nonetheless, I loved the packaging. It's so pretty. I think she did a really good job on that palette. So definitely one of my favorites from the year. Okay, guys, so that is it for the best of eye products from 2019. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of my picks. Was there something I left out? Something you would have added, something I didn't try this year that you think maybe I should check out, or if there was anything I picked that you totally agree with or totally disagree with, you know, either way. I'm definitely interested to hear your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you never miss when I upload a video. You can follow me on social. My handle's @Glam Latte. And don't forget the Glam Latte Beauty Podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, CastBox, and iHeartRadio. All those details are in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.
I just wanna hold you.